Welcome to the CQN Podcast, a Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and this week I'm joined by Kevin Graham, and we have two very special guests. First of all, Stephen Sullivan, welcome to the show.
Hi Paul, thanks for having me along.
And Stevie Murray.
Pleasure to be here, Paul.
We're here in the toll booth in Stirling to discuss the last year as Celtic supporters. This is the end of season review, Christmas jumpers for goalposts. So first of all, Stephen, we'll get right into it. What has been your highlight of 2017?
I'd probably go for, if I can go for a kind of double, was the back-to-back. I think the back-to-back wins over Rangers in April. I just remember thinking that was something that I never thought I would see, because obviously growing up in the 90s and going through all the bad years, even then it never got that bad. And I never felt, and okay, we were finishing way down the table, but even we never capitulated like they did against us in those two back-to-back games in April, I thought. And I just thought the gulf was amazing and something I never thought I would see as a Celtic fan, that we were so far ahead. And I just thought how depressing it must be on the other side, because as I say, even looking back to those times that were incredibly depressing and we were miles behind in points, we always seemed to give them a game, or 9 times out of 10 we give them a game, and even claim very unlikely wins with very poor teams, you know, Brian O'Neill scoring at Ibrox, strange little wins, games at, you know, Andy Payton at Celtic Park, these games that you didn't expect us to win, and we had pretty poor teams, but we would generally give them a game and often outplay them, even though we were miles behind in the league. So I think that was special, because I didn't expect it after the draw at Celtic Park. You know, even though we'd beaten them 5-1 early in the season, I don't think many people expected us to be just as far ahead as we were in those games, and we just outclassed them in every single department.
It's interesting you mentioned that about the early 90s, because I'm sure there is a stat that we were unbeaten at Ibrox for about 4 years. I think I can remember that. That Rangers never, and even going to the football at that time, you're right, Rangers never hammered us. Yep. Apart from there was one game, the 4-2 game at Celtic Park, and which probably brung down the board at that point, changed the...
Fighting in the stands that day, weren't they?
Mars bars. Somebody threw a Mars bar in the director's box. That's true.
But yeah, see, that's what was my memory of it. And even the game we lost, I remember we were unlucky a lot of times. You know, Gorham would have a fantastic game, or, you know, and that was even before Tommy Burns came along and things started to improve. I really remember a lot of games where we were excellent at Ibrox. You know, you have players like Paul Byrne coming through and standing up, and Collins and McStay would be at their best, and it just seemed that we could raise our game for those matches, whereas it seemed last season that Rangers just couldn't raise their game to play us.
Yeah, even the Hampden season, which was a horrible season to watch, and near the end we cuffed them 3-0. You know, Rudy Vatters scoring free kicks and everything else. So you're absolutely right, and it was the scarf against the goalpost moment. You know, we own you kind of thing. That's what I got from that. Stevie, what's your highlight of the year?
I would go for the cup final, not only because it's a special occasion when you win a cup final at any time, but to do it in such dramatic circumstances late in the game. And it's not just a cup final, it's a treble as well. So that feeling when the ball hit the net with a matter of seconds to go, it was just unbelievable. And it reminded me very much of McAvenny's winner against Dundee United in 1988. It was almost as if it was preordained somehow that you know that this is going to be our year. And you never ever think that at the time, but it's only afterwards looking back that you think, you know, that there was a feeling in there that something special was going to happen. And I don't think there was any doubt that we were going to win that day, because the last 20 minutes we were all over Aberdeen like a rash, and it was just a matter of time when the goal was going to, if the goal was going to come before the end or in extra time. So for Rogic to score, running for the halfway line, a couple of shuffles, get it on his poor foot and even still finish it at the near post, a marvellous feeling. And there's a wonderful, everybody saw it on the internet, it's for behind the goal where Craig Gordon is when that ball hits the net, and he just drops to his knees, and you can see that the Celtic end just absolutely delirious. And it's a wonderful footage that I think will be shown for years to come.
I haven't been involved in bedlam like that for years. When that ball hit the net, as you say, there was carnage, there was bodies everywhere, there was folk just running up and down the aisles. I actually thought I was taking a heart attack. I was hyperventilating. The wee woman next to me was asking, "Are you okay?" And I've gone, "I will be." And even when we lifted the cup, I was still shaking. I really was still shaking. With regards to that, when I thought it was in the air, but I didn't think it was in there until we beat Partick. And that was when I started even thinking to myself, we're going to go through this season unbeaten. We are going to go through this whole season unbeaten. But it took me up to that point against Partick Thistle for Hull on that Thursday night when we blew them away inside the first 20-25 minutes.
Yeah.
That was only when I started really believing.
I've already mentioned winning the cup and then winning the treble, but I've almost forgot there that was an unbeaten season, because you're sort of taking it for granted now, and it's almost like, it's just one of these things. Everybody's just taking it for granted. It's still special, but I think it's only in years to come we'll appreciate just how special it was, because sometimes at the time you don't fully appreciate what you're achieving.
I think a couple of weeks ago against Motherwell, when it really did look like it was gone, and then it began to hit me how much I was really bothered about it.
Yeah,
how much it will bother me when it goes. Who do I want it to go to?
Imagine we lost that cup final. You've lost the treble. First of all, you've lost the cup final, which is a blow in itself, and then you've lost the treble, and then you've lost your unbeaten run in the season. It would have been desperately disappointing if we hadn't done it, and I think it says a lot for the players that they raised their gallop one last occasion. And the adrenaline must have been flowing through them that day, because the last 20 minutes they gave their all.
Aye. I think if that game would have went into extra time, I think we would have took 3 or 4 off Aberdeen in extra time.
Aye.
They were hanging on.
That's right. And to be fair to Aberdeen, for 70 minutes they made a right good game.
Definitely.
And in fact, the turning point of the game was the miss, because there's 2 of them running in and goal, and one squares. I'm not quite sure if it was a bad cross or the guy timed his run poorly. If he'd have held his run for a split second, he would have run on it, but it just ran slightly behind them, which gave, I think it was Scott Brown, the opportunity again and volley it away.
I also think McInnes's substitution, when he brought on a centre half and played him in the middle of the park, I think that changed the tempo of the game as well. It gave Paddy Roberts Roberts seemed to move more inside at that point, and it gave him more room. But I really do think that we would have took 3 or 4 of them if it would have went to extra time.
And I think that's what made it all the sweeter, was the fact that at one point you could see it not happening, if you know what I mean, because obviously they take the lead and then Tierney gets the bad injury, and then the way it finishes with as you say, such a late goal and all the fantastic kind of TV angles you saw later, and then Tierney making it back for the trophy as well. It was just like, it was like they set it up for a wee dramatic conclusion, as you say, not too dissimilar to the 88 final, in terms of seeing it go away, seeing it slip away, and then get it back again made it all the sweeter.
I mean, the Tierney thing was almost Roy the Rovers.
Definitely.
I mean, it's like reading it in a comic and you think, they're 1-0 down, they come back to score in the last minute and the guy gets taken off, he makes it back for the hospital in time to get the trophy. That's terrific.
And on the subject of Aberdeen, obviously we went out and bought the best player from that squad. What's been your opinion of the signings this season, as opposed to last season, where I don't think anybody would question any of the signings in Rodgers' first season?
It's a strange one right now, isn't it? Because you're looking, and I was totally convinced that, having seen the way the team developed last season, that we would be so much better this season in Europe, that we'd be a lot better equipped and we'd really make a good fist of it. I thought, fancy us to get third. Obviously the second would have been a big shout, but I think I fancy to get third and to really perform a bit more creditably than we have. So it's an interesting one, because there's a few players that you say probably have regressed. The Armstrongs, the Sinclairs have not been anywhere near the level they were at last year. And Cham, having been, I thought he was outstanding in the qualifier away from home. I thought he was brilliant that night. And then he dipped right off. I think he had a couple of terrible domestic games not long after it. And he's just been, I thought he was better actually when he came on the other night. I thought he was one of their better players. But he's still to prove himself, I would say. Jury's out there. I don't think anyone was ever wild about the Hayes signing, because he didn't seem like an improvement. He seemed like just another option. And I think that's the way it's proved. And he doesn't look like he really believes. I know he was better last weekend. I know that was the best maybe we've seen of him. But to me, he doesn't look like he really believes he deserves to be here at Celtic. That's just, I've seen a few players like that down the years, and I don't know. I just don't know if he thinks he's got it to be a starter. Like, he seems quite happy to be on the bench. I don't see any kind of real belief in the guy. And I hope he pushes on, because he seems like a very nice guy, and maybe that's what Rodgers brought him in, to be a guy who is happy to be a squad player. But I don't know, I don't feel that really the business in general is massively improved. I think obviously we've missed out in getting a centre half in, which was probably a key area in trying to improve. Edouard obviously did very well last weekend, but I completely saw where Rodgers was coming from at the time, when everyone was slating him for saying we can't really afford to have more than 2 top level strikers, because if you are playing a 4-2-3-1, it was difficult enough keeping Griffiths happy last season when Dembele had his long stretch. So I find that a bit of a strange situation, and I find it hard to see where he's going to muscle his way in, unless one of the two, unless we sell Dembele or Griffiths gets injured or is completely frozen out. So, no, I think it's been a bit underwhelming, and I think at the moment I'm a bit concerned at the way things are shaping up. I think it's a bit of an interesting point of the season, because I think the players could either, Rodgers was obviously as critical as he's been of them the other night, saying that a few of them think they're Champions League players and they're maybe been shown they're not to be. So I think they're either going to respond to that and hopefully kick on and try and prove them wrong, or there could be a bit of a lull after the Anderlecht game. And I must admit, talking about how the run could end, I'm a bit concerned about Hibs. This will obviously go out after that, but I think Lennon's a very good manager, and I think Hibs are a very decent team, so I think they could be a danger.
I think with Hayes, I expected him to play more than what he actually has. Sinclair's form's definitely dipped, and I fully expected Hayes to maybe get more games in the SPFL games. With regard to N'Cham, I thought he was excellent away at Anderlecht. I think he showed better qualities in Europe than what he has maybe done domestically. Europe, we haven't kicked on, even though it's job done. Everyone else in this room would have accepted third place. The other night there against Anderlecht, as I says, it was like using your wit and charm to pull Miss World, then peeing the bed when you got there.
And my response was, I believe Rodgers can pull Miss World over and pretend she pissed the bed.
Well, that brings us back to a point. Rodgers' game is improving players. He improved loads of players last year. Can he improve the players anymore? You look at Europe. For me, the best performances in Europe were from Callum McGregor, James Forrest, Kieran Tierney and Scott Brown. 3 of the guys came through our academy. Mm-hmm. Is that the way that we've got to go? We'll have to develop guys that can play at that level. I reckon we need a goalie. I think the way that we want to play football, Craig Gordon can't do it. He can win us games, he's a great shot stopper. But where do we go next with Rodgers? I mean, you reckon that Rodgers can turn it round. His record in Europe doesn't say that, even with Liverpool.
The problem with the signings, I think, is that during the summer, Stephen's quite right, the signings have been pretty low key and uninspiring to such a degree. There's a guy Benyu as well that we've not really seen yet. He's maybe a working project that they're
Kouassi as well.
Kouassi came in last winter,
last January.
But the dilemma we've got at the moment is that we do have a good team, right? You maybe get a squad there of 15-16 players that are pretty strong. What we really need is, we don't need any more projects, we don't need any more squad players. You really need a guy who's going to come in and take a place in the team. And they're very expensive and they don't want to come to the SPL. So that's the dilemma. Everybody knows, Brendan Rodgers knows, Peter Lobble knows, the supporters all know that we need a better class of player to come in, and we need a guy who's going to get right into the team. But these players don't come cheap, and they're very, very hard to attract to Scotland. So I think that's the market that we're in, and for the foreseeable future there'll be more charms coming in, more guys maybe from Man City or Chelsea who don't quite make the grade at that level, which doesn't mean to say they're bad players, but they can come to us and find a platform. Paddy Roberts been a case in point. Paddy wasn't playing football down at the Etihad, and he's came up here to be a cult hero at Celtic Park. He's got a pocket full of medals and memories that'll last him forever. So I think we need to be realistic as well. It'd be great to go down to, I don't know, go to Italy and buy the Inter Milan centre half or something like that, but we're not in a position to do that.
I mean, I wonder as well, with the mentioning Roberts there, if Hayes has been a little bit unfortunate there, because I wonder if he was signed on the assumption, I think he was signed on the assumption we weren't getting Roberts back, so in terms of you thinking he might have played more, I imagine he would have played a fair bit more had we not got Roberts back. And Roberts himself, I think, has been another one who's not hit the heights of last season. Even before his injury, I think he was off it, and Forrest probably deserved to get in the team before he was in the team. I thought, like Roberts was getting a little run, and I thought Forrest, when he was in and he was coming off the bench, he was getting, and I think Roberts last season, he was absolutely phenomenal.
Dynamite.
And, especially towards the end of the season, was just great to watch, a joy to watch.
It's an interesting point that Stevie makes about signings. You mentioned signing a centre half. Could we get any better than the two centre halves that we've got? Boyata and Simovic. I do think we need to sign another centre half, but mainly because Simovic is never fit. And I think that's where Rodgers is coming from. I don't think he's saying we need a better centre half, because he knows fine well that it's going to be extremely difficult to get a better centre half to come to Scotland.
Yeah. And he doesn't fancy Sviatchenko by the looks of it.
No.
which is very weird because Shevchenko, or whatever how you say his name, was Big Eric was ever present up until he was suspended.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, I think Simunovic is definitely the best that we've got when fit. You know, like I think most people would say that, but as you say, it's just, and it's clear that there is a long-term problem there. It's not like something he might get clear of. It's clear, you know, they rest him for the games in the artificial turf. It's obviously the medical problem when he went over to Italy. So it's clear there is something there that maybe he won't ever be clear of, and that's a real worry.
Yeah, and he's only 23, you know, and he's got these problems so early. Now that we're at this stage of the programme, what I'm going to do, because it's a Christmas show, Stevie, I'm going to ask you to choose a Christmas song, just to keep us in the festive spirit.
Okay, I'm going to go for Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses, and there's a wee reason for that. It was released in 1982, and it only got to number 30 in the charts, and I really liked it at the time. But you and I were talking earlier on there, it was really difficult to get a record in those days once the record went out the charts. These days we're blessed with things like Spotify and YouTube, and you can play any song at any time. It's almost like having your own jukebox for oldies like me that remember having record players. So it would be Christmas Wrapping, because I remember it originally, and it's now become a bit of a cult song. I don't know if it was in a movie, a Christmas movie, but you hear it in the radio all the time, and every single year when Christmas comes around, you'll always hear the Waitresses.
Boots back out in the snow to the only all-night grocery should appear in the line. It's that guy I've been chasing all year. And in this one alone, he said, the break this year's been crazy. I said, me too, but why are you? You mean you forgot cranberries too? Then suddenly we laughed and laughed, caught on to what was happening. That Christmas magic's brought this tale to a very happy ending.
Got a few quick fire questions for you guys, so I'll give you two options and the first one that comes to your mind, choose it, right, just on instinct. Stephen Sullivan, Blood or Oasis?
Oasis.
Liam or Noel?
No.
Brendan Rodgers or Martin O'Neill?
Martin O'Neill for personal reasons.
Tony Cascarino or Joey Barton?
Oh, good grief. Cascarino by a millimetre.
Dembele or Griffiths?
Griffiths.
Celtic View or Not the View?
Not the View.
90s Survivor or 90s Sanctimonious Bore?
Survivor, I'll go.
Champions League or Europa League?
Champions League.
Craig Gordon or Summer Harrell?
Craig Gordon.
The Jungle Boys or the Green Brigade?
Green Brigade.
Big Jozo or Big Bobo?
Bobo.
King of the Jungle or King of the Cop?
King of the Jungle.
EBT or KT?
KT.
Stop in the 10 or one in a row?
One in a row.
Going for 55 or going for one?
I go for one.
The concomitants or the commitments?
Oh, the concomitant. They were the first ones.
Jim Farry or Stuart Reagan?
Oh, jeez. Jim Farry was a bit of fun at least. Come on, you could have a laugh at Jim Farry, you know. I'll go for Farry.
5 stars or 1 star?
1 star.
Home or away?
Home.
Pink away or yellow away?
Yellow.
Simple Minds or U2?
U2.
Sitting or standing?
Sitting.
St Pauli or St Anthony?
Oh, St Anthony, of course.
Big Billy or King Billy?
King Billy.
Rebel songs or folk songs?
Rebel songs.
Numbers on the jerseys or numbers on the shorts?
Oh, shorts, definitely.
Sean Fallon or Tony Stark?
Sean Fallon.
Sponsor or no sponsor?
No sponsor.
The English Premier League or WWF Wrestling?
Oh, I hate WWF. The English Premier League for me.
Bah Humbug or Tree Up in November?
3 up in November.
Irish Tricolour or Scottish Saltire?
Irish Tricolour.
Encham or Entrance?
Encham.
Rogic or Rogic?
Rogic.
Stephen, Christmas track from you?
I'll be a little bit more boring and go for Pogue's Fairy Tale in New York.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I just think it's a good, you know, a little bit bittersweet in there as well, you know, great little tune. I think I tend to feel that the best Christmas tunes are almost like ones that aren't done as Christmas tunes. Would survive as a good tune regardless, you know, and it always reminds me as well that, you know, Christmas cinema is great. I mean, the Pogues are fantastic, you know, great storytellers almost within songs, and Aye.
And it was luck that Kirsten MacColl ended up on that track as well. Did you hear the story?
I remember
behind
listening to
the
the documentary. It was great. It was on, was it BBC? It was radio.
It was, aye.
It was a terrific documentary actually, and obviously a really sad, story with her. It's been part of that. But no, I think it's a. I know it's it's one of those ones that is played to death at this time of year, but I still. When I think the first time when you hear it every year,
it's magical.
It's great.
And of course, you've got that link because her dad was Ewan MacColl, and Ewan MacColl passed the baton down to Luke Kelly, and it's passed down again further to Christy Moore, to Shane McGowan, and obviously that links up. So, Fairy Tale of New York.
It was Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank. An old man said to me, won't see another one. And then he sang a song, the rare old mountain dew. I turned my face away and dreamed about you. Got on a lucky one, came in 18 to 1. I've got a feeling this year's for me and you. So happy Christmas, I love you, baby. I can see a better time when all our dreams come true.
They got cars big as bars, they got rivers of gold, but the windows right through you, it's no place for the old. When you first took my hand on a cold Christmas Eve, you promised me Broadway was waiting for me. You were handsome,
you were pretty queen of New York City. When the band finished playing, they held out for more. Sinatra was swinging, all the drunks they were singing. We kissed on the corner, then danced through the night. The boys of the NYPD choir were singing, go away, babe. And the bells were ringing out for Christmas Day. They're almost dead on a drip in that bed.
you scumbag, you maggot, you cheap, lousy faggot. Happy Christmas, you're ours, I pray God it's our love.
The boys of the NYPD choir still singing, go away, babe. And the bells are ringing out for Christmas Day. Could have been someone.
Well, so could anyone. You took my dreams from me when I first found you.
I kept them with me, babe. I put them with my own. Can't make it all alone. I built my dreams around you. The boys of the NYPD choir still singing, go away, babe. And the bells are ringing out for Christmas Day.
Obviously, this has been recorded before the Europa League draw. Unlike most Christmas specials, it's not recorded in October or during the summer. So, in Europe, we've had some shirikens, some really poor performances. Where are we? I mean, we come into Europe at the lowest point. We come in through the Champions route. Now, the Champions route's been gone since 2009. And in that time, there's been 135 places up for grabs for the teams that come through the Champions route to qualify. There's only 14 times that a team for the Champions route has actually ended up in one of those 135 places. The teams that have done it are obviously us, Legia Warsaw, Ludogorets, Copenhagen, Bâle have done it twice, Victoria Plzeň, Cluj, Bate Borisov, Apoel and Olympiacos. The only team ever to win their group have been Apoel, and only us, Copenhagen, Olympiacos and Apoel have ever reached the last 16 coming through that route. So we are entering Europe at the bottom rung.
See if we need to, again, there has to be a sense of realism here, right? And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were lamenting the fact that this hasn't been a great European campaign, and he said to me, it was much worse feeling when we get beat with Maribor and Malmo.
Definitely.
So for me, Brendan Rodgers being a success is twofold. We need to win the league every season, and the reason we need to win the league is to get to the Champions qualifiers, and his second objective there is to get through the qualifiers into the Champions League. And if it means getting a doing with Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain, then I think we need to be realistic, because in terms of finance, they're well beyond us. But getting to the group stages is very much a success. But when you look at some of the teams who don't make the group stages, it's quite enlightening, because you're talking about a lot of big teams in Europe and a lot of big countries. And I think we have to, each time we qualify for the group stages, I think we have to celebrate that in some way, because that is an achievement. And coming through the qualifying rounds is getting more difficult, because any time it had been put out, it was with the narrowest margin. I mean, it was painful. Maribor was basically, I think it was away goals we lost it on, and the Malmo game, okay, we blew it across there, but we were still only a goal away for getting it back, and Beaton had a goal disallowed when it was 1-0. So very, very fine margins at that level. And I just think that for people who are disappointed with the European campaign, you know, it's fantastic that we've got European football into the new year again. That's so exciting.
Oh, it's brilliant.
And even if it's a Europa League, I think we can take that on board. We might end up getting one of the glamour teams. And the other thing as well is it's the finance. You know, a capacity crowd at Celtic Park is roughly £2 million. There'll probably be £2 million TV money, and then I think you get a bung off UEFA for getting through that anyway. So you're talking about maybe another 4 or 5 million, which is a lot of money in terms of our finances. But again, just to finish off, it's just the fact that, yes, it is disappointing, but it was a hell of a lot worse getting beaten in the qualifiers.
Maybe disappointing was the wrong choice of phrase that I used. I'm disappointed at the home form, even under Rodgers. I mean, we've lost 5 games out of 6. We haven't won a Champions League group game since October 2013 at home. We haven't won. We never even won a Europa League game. We haven't won a group stage game for about 3 seasons. And I think because this is being recorded in the aftermath of Anderlecht was disappointing. For me, it was really disappointing. Not that I expected us to beat Anderlecht, but I expect us to go out there and put on a wee bit of performance, and not having a performance and seeing our manager changing formation 3 times in 15 minutes to try and stem the flow of the game, then basically admitting not defeat, but basically going, I'm just going to make sure that they don't score 3 goals and just sat there, was quite galling to watch. It was a bit like the Ajax game in 2001 when we just sat there, but the team didn't really know what to do. People have said Rodgers is a bit inflexible. Well, if you look at the Champions League games that we've played this season, the groups, we've had more formations than the Radaros. He's been willing to change. Where do we go? I'm quite happy to finish third and go into the Europa League, but I do feel when I look at the list of names that I read there, I see them getting results at home. I see them having decent performances, and if that's a level that we are at, I think we can do better.
I agree. I mean, I must admit, I do think it's been disappointing not from the outcome. The outcome, I think, is what I would have wanted and what I think was the most we could have expected at the start. I just think I expected more of performances. I expected more performances like the Man City's last season. I thought that we'd gone, the Barcelona kind of, hammering we got last season. I thought we'd improved since then. I really thought we'd progressed, and I thought we wouldn't get a hammering like that again this year. I thought that the Rodgers team was too good for it. And, I really had, when you look at the team, like say, that I know it's maybe easy to say that, but the teams that Lennon and Strachan had that never get a doing like that, they've Evander Snow's in them, and guys, the Kelvin Wilsons and Effie Ambrose at centre half, and Miku up front, I just think we've got a better team now, and we should have a better team. And I think we should be putting up more of a fight, and we shouldn't be losing. I know they're great teams, and again, it'll be judged over time how great PSG are. Their performance at Celtic Park was magnificent. Don't get me wrong, I thought it was one of the best I've ever seen, but I do feel that there's a question to be asked about how competitive we've been in those games, and also the performance this week I thought was really, really poor. And again, I think his comments afterwards about some of the players maybe thinking they're Champions League, and I mean, obviously I think Armstrong and Sinclair and a couple of others are getting the stick, having come off at half time, and we did improve second half, but I do feel that we've got to be, Europa League is what we should be aiming for, and it's a great achievement, in terms of getting there. I have been disappointed. I really thought we'd do better this year. I thought we'd come on over the course of last season, and that we would kick on this season and just put up a fight, like the Man City games, like the Bayern home game. The Bayern home game was the one thing that I kind of, I'll give them some, but a lack of belief in some of the games.
You remember the high in Brussels?
Yeah.
That 3-0, I mean, I paused my telly at the final whistle. Go, is that really telling us that we've won 3-0 away from home in Europe?
How important was Sinclair's goal in the last minute?
It was really extremely important, aye.
Very, very vital.
I think we've got to be honest as well. I think we were a bit fortunate to catch them. They were obviously in a mess at the start of the season, Anderlecht, at that point. And you see the difference between them and that game and the difference the other night. I think they've obviously got a new manager in. They were on a terrible run at that point. I think we were a wee bit lucky to get them, because I didn't actually think. I thought we started that game pretty nervously in Brussels. We didn't look good, and then because they were poor, we kind of got a bit of confidence and came into it in a great, lovely first goal, in Cham's pass.
That goal changed the game.
Yeah.
That goal changed the whole way the game was going.
You need to appreciate as well, Anderlecht have got a European pedigree, and they have had since the 1960s.
Quarter-finalists of the Europa League last year.
Absolutely, and they've got European trophies in their cabinet and through the decades. Maybe of one the big ones certainly, but in the European Cup Winners' Cup, I think they've won 2 or 3 of them. And even throughout the 80s, when Belgian football was pretty strong, Anderlecht were always in the higher regions of either the European Cup or the Cup Winners' Cup. So they've got a pedigree as well, and I think they're very similar to us in that they are in a lower ranked league. That they're near some of the big countries in Central Europe who poach their players, like the Germans and the Italians. And also the fact that they're finding it harder now, the way we are, to somehow maintain that level of European success.
That begs the question then, what are UEFA going to do about it? Because your PSGs, your Barcelonas are going to get fed up walloping us. I can see a sea change happening, whereas the elite just go and play each other, and they're no interested in playing us from the weaker leagues.
Will that not become boring though? I mean, I love to watch Barcelona playing Bayern Munich, but if it's happening at the same time every season, then I think even the general public will become tired of it.
I think it's getting boring just now. I hardly ever watch any other games apart from ours in the Champions League.
I think but you've got wee fixtures like that. I mean, like Arsenal Bayern, it's kind of like when the draw was made, they were laughing at, God, you again kind of thing, and I think, I do worry about that in terms, I don't think UEFA are going to do anything that redresses the balance towards ourselves and these are European teams that used to be powerful. I think it will go more towards what you're thinking but because I think you've got the clubs associations and so on that are trying to flex their muscles and just get more money. It's all about short-termism, I guess. But I do worry in that respect. But I know it's not going to get any easier for us. I know it's far from it. And we were the 4th seeds in that group, weren't we? So to get 3rd is great. But yeah, I hope we can find some kind of way of playing and not being super defensive or whatever. Just whatever we need to do to just give a slightly better account of ourselves, as we have at times, as we did against Man City last season, as we did against Bayern, and hopefully we can just find a way to do that with a bit more consistency.
I think if we look at it, if you go back to Ronnie Dyler, and you've already mentioned Stevie, you've already mentioned Maribor and Malmo. At that point, I didn't think Celtic would ever qualify for the Champions League again, because you could see it getting harder and harder. We were going to teams where these teams are improving. The money that they're getting means that they won their leagues every single year. I mean, since the Champions League route has came into play, there's only been 24 teams entered that Champions League route out of 45 places. So it's the same teams that are coming back in. So obviously the UEFA money's helping them. They win the league and they get back in. Now we've got an extra qualifier, and it's going to get harder and harder, because we are meeting teams of your Maribor and Malmos who are the same standard as us.
Do you know the team that the game nobody remembers this season? It's as if everybody sort of locked it for their memory. We drew nothing each with Rosenborg in the first leg. They missed 3 sitters in the second half. I remember going out that night and I said to my son, I said, that's not a bad result. And he said, what are you talking about? It's nothing each. I said, no, they didn't get the away goal. If they'd have scored, then I'm very doubtful if you could have get through. Because although Rosenborg were a great team, I think the next round they went and beat Ajax, didn't they?
Aye.
So I mean, it shows you the level of teams that you're playing against. And you know, Rosenborg aren't the team that they were maybe 15 years ago when they were beating Real Madrid in the group stages. But nevertheless, when you're playing teams like that in the qualifier, we can't take it for granted we can beat them. And that was a terrific result to beat them over.
It was a fantastic
in
performance.
Very few teams go to Rosenborg and beat them.
How far can we go this season, Stevie?
It really depends on the draw. I think there was a lot of people who were saying to me earlier on there, before the campaign started, if we could get third place, we could maybe do a civil season again. I think that's quite unrealistic. You know, everything would need to align. The stars would need to align for us, I think, to get to another final. But no, I think we've made it harder for ourselves by not beating Anderlecht at Parkhead, which would have made us seeds and made it a wee bit easier to get through at the last 16. But nevertheless, we're at the fate of the mercy of the draw. So I'm a great believer in bring it on.
We've come to that point of the show, Kevin, where the music aficionado amongst us gives us a credible Christmas track.
That's a bit insulting to our two guests, saying that I want a credible Christmas track.
No, but you know, you're the man with the finger on the pulse, so what's your choice?
Mine's is a bit left field. I'm sure that you probably guessed that anyway. I'm going for Set Etienne with Tim Burgess, and I Was Born on Christmas Day.
Roll the tape.
Spend the summer holed up in a room, looking pretty, won't you be here soon? You're a Disney, could not work at all. Little bird I told me in the fall, getting groovy after Halloween. Mid-November got the commissary. I'm so glad that I just got my hit. I was born on Christmas Day. My heart's full of spring. Had to phone you, tell you everything. Like the crazy evenings on the yacht. Tim and Sarah went and tied the knot. Did you know they pulled the town hall down? I don't think you recognize this town. Never could have been a tennis wife. Get into the acting life.
What's your hopes for after the winter break? January transfer window, winter break, towards the end of the season.
I mean, I hope the draw is kind to us in the Europa League and we can get a run. It'd be great if I agree with exactly what Stevie says. I think the hopes of a Seville type run are pretty ambitious, especially now we're unseeded. If we can get through a couple of rounds there, that'd be brilliant. I went over to Munich actually for the away first European away game I've been to for quite a few years, and it was just brilliant. And I think that's the kind of thing that if you can get a run, you can get a couple of good cities. The fans will just lap that up. And I think it would be important as well for the team's morale if we can perform a bit better, because I do think Rodgers himself has been disappointed. I think he expected better. So I think there's a few players that maybe need to prove themselves to him against a kind of top level of opposition. So hopefully we can keep the momentum going and that unbeaten run you're talking about. If we can, I think that's become a motivation, because I think maybe even as long as 2/3 of the way through last season, no one was really bothering about it. I don't think the players were really thinking about it. Whereas now, as you say, the Motherwell game, recently, that was everyone was the tension was huge there, because, and I think it was the same for the players and the management. Everyone's so proud of that now. They want to keep it going. I think another treble would be lovely. I just hope that they don't go back the way, because I think there's been a few little worrying signs. The Anderlecht game the other night, again, that maybe colours some of our thinking. We can be absolutely fantastic in the next couple of games and you stop worrying, but I do worry maybe that certain players are going backwards and there's maybe just not the same spark there was last season. I really hope I'm wrong. I hope we can just get that back and start playing with the same way we were playing in some of the games towards the end of last season. It was just a joy to watch.
I would say my hope is that double trebles have never been done before, back to back. So teams have came close to it before. We came close to it in 1970 and Aberdeen spoiled it by beating us in the cup final. So I think in terms of creating a wee bit of history, we've done all sorts of records the last few seasons in terms of breaking the 67 match unbeaten run, and there was other things that we've done as well. So in terms of creating another record, it would be nice to do back to back trebles, which not only have we never done before, but nobody else has done before either. And I would hope as well that guys like Scott Sinclair, Stuart Armstrong, Paddy Roberts to a certain degree, you don't become bad players overnight.
Definitely.
So the hope is that maybe after the January break, when everybody's batteries are refreshed, that we come back as strong as ever and we batter in and get the league championship, get the Scottish Cup, and do whatever we can in Europe.
You want to push on, You want to do back-to-back trebles, but you want to see the performances kind of improve. Mm-hmm. It seems to be that we've sort of plateaued, and there's a lot of games we just see through, and the movement and speed of thought that we had last season's not been there this season. Again, it could be different priorities by the coaching staff, more focus put on Europe, but I just find there's been some little spark missing. Now, there's been some great games. Two of my favourite games this year have been the 1-1 draw with St Johnstone at Celtic Park, which I thought we played fantastically well in the second half, and also the 2-2 draw with Hibs at Celtic Park. I thought they were two cracking games. Then you look at the 3-0 victory against Aberdeen at Pittodrie. That was a perfect performance, and I'm clinging on to that we've still got that in the locker. We've still got that there. That is still within this team's capability. I know it is. For me, with Paddy Roberts getting injured, I want to see signs of progress. I want to see signs of players progressing. And I would like to see maybe Mikey Johnson getting a couple of runs out now. I would also, Anthony Ralston when he comes back from injury. And as well with Ayer, I want to see how Rodgers is going to develop these players. And hopefully we get the chance to see them more from now to the end of the season.
I totally agree, and I think Ayer especially, because I would like to think that if we don't sign a centre-half in the window, that he'll try and play Ayer a bit more rather than moving Beaton back, because I think Ayer, he's had some brilliant games, he's had some games where he's not been at the same level, but I think he's definitely something there. I think there's definitely a player that we can develop there, and I hope that Rodgers sees that as a challenge. And I just think there's more value long term and is giving Ayer a bit of a chance in that that back line rather than putting Beaton back, because realistically he's done a decent job in quite a few of the games, to be fair to him, despite the criticism. But I just think he's never going to be the long-term option there. So I'd like to see, if we don't sign a centre-half, that Ayer's given a bit more of a chance.
I think there's more value in us developing our own players anyway. And I think we've seen that, as I've already mentioned, in Forrest and McGregor this season, who I really think have kicked on to another level. How about yourself, Paul?
I just think, we've mentioned Sinclair, it can be quite worrying when a player goes off the boil, so evidently. But when you look at the games he played coming into the Celtic side, very, very few games really competitively. And now, this magnificent run that we're on, you know, he's been almost an ever-present, and there might just be a bit of fatigue creeping in, and that's a double-edged sword in Europe. I mean, we've played 6 games before we kick a ball in the Champions League, really. And then I looked at a stat during the week, we're a dozen games ahead of anybody else in Scotland, you know. So there is that fatigue, and perhaps the answer is to play some more of the youngsters. The league's going to get one. We've got enough in our locker to win that. Play a wee bit more of the youngsters in the domestic games, because Sinclair looks like a shadow of his former self, and there's one or two like that in the squad.
Is it maybe just a natural drop in form with Sinclair? The fact that he hasn't played a lot of football over the last 3 seasons, his adrenaline's got him through last year, and now he's just hit that sort of dip. Is that?
I think so, but then often what you'll see is a wee break maybe, and then he'll come back and all will be forgotten. He came into the game this season, I think he was quite prolific. You know, he scored quite a few goals early doors, and maybe just in the last couple of months he's dipped. But again, you know, people might think I've got the old green tinted spectacles. I just think somebody like Rodgers sees that way ahead of us anyway, and he'll know the guy's mentality, and he'll be able to turn them around, I think.
And I think the good thing you see, I mean, it's a fair point, because he's obviously one of the guys that is one of the first names on Rodgers' team sheet, rightly so, in terms of his performances last season with maybe Brown and Tierney and, you know, a couple of others. But I think, in terms of what you say about his mentality, I think that was very well proved in the Motherwell game, you know, because that was a big penalty, the stick he'd been getting, and what a fantastic penalty. You know,
especially when you see it, Griffiths has gone, "Do you want me to take it?" And he's gone, "No."
Yeah.
No, he's definitely, he's got that big game mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, hopefully as well, I mean, Southgate's comments weren't hugely encouraging, but he obviously does have a World Cup on the horizon. If he's a brilliant end to the season, a couple of injuries, you never know. It's not, I don't think it's, you know, it's unlikely, given that the Southgate was probably less than complimentary, but I think hopefully that can be a little motivation for him to just at least make a case, and then if there's an injury or two, he could push his way in.
And because of that, he thought he was better than you. Every day after school, you would go round there to play it, hoping to compete for some kind of championship. But it always took about 15 billion hours to set the track up. And even when you did, the thing never seemed to work. It was a dodgy transformer, again and again. A dodgy transformer, again and again. It was a dodgy transformer, again and again. A dodgy transformer that cost £3.10. So he'd send his doting mother up the stairs with the step ladders to get the Subutio out of the loft. He had all the accessories required for that big match atmosphere, the crowd and the dugout and the floodlights too. You'd always get palmed off with a headless centre forward and a goalkeeper with no arms and a face like his. He'd managed to get hold of a Dukla Prague away kit, cause his uncle owned a sports shop and he kept it to one side. And after only 5 minutes, he'd be down to 10 men, cause he'd sent off your right back for taking the base from under his left winger. And come to half-time, you were losing 4-0. Each and every goal, a hotly disputed penalty, so he'd smash up the floodlights and the match was abandoned, and the dog would bark and you'd be banned from his house. and your travelling army of synthetic supporters would be taken away from you and thrown in the bin. Now he's working in a job with a future. He hands me my gyro every 2 weeks, and me, I'm on the lookout for a proper transformer.
Stephen Sullivan, thank you very much for coming to the toll booth today. It's been really enjoyable speaking to you about Celtic, as it always is. Hopefully we can join you again in 2018. Stevie Murray, thank you very much for your insight. It's always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
This has been the CQN Podcast, a Celtic State of Mind. You can check us out at Paul Dykes or at A Northern Prose or at the CQN Podcast. And until next time, keep the faith.